welcome to Central Florida Salute YouTube. I'm your host, Bob Peters, and once again, I'm here at Eagles Area 4273. They allow us to come in here and film, and we're very appreciative of that. But I have an Army veteran with me who's, he does a lot here in the AMVETS, and we'll talk about that a little later. But Bill Crast. Mm-hmm. And Bill, I've known you for a while now. You are a trustee here. You're several different things, and you're very active in the veterans community.
Yeah.
But tell me a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and you were an Army vet, Vietnam, right?
Right.
So tell me where you're from.
Originally from Adams, New York. Graduated from South Jefferson Central School, Adams, New York. And my dad was from that area.
I understand your dad was a service.
27 years Army.
Yeah, so you're a military brat.
I am.
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
So, okay. So you and me are about the same generation, about the same time. Mm-hmm. That's when a little thing called Vietnam was going on. Mm-hmm. So when you got out of high school, did you get drafted, or?
No, I was just about ready to get drafted. I was pretty high on the list, so I enlisted because of the fact I've been around the military. My dad, being in the Army for 27 years, I knew pretty much the ins and outs of the military. So I decided to go Army, and that's what I did. I joined. I had a good friend in high school, and we played football, and he passed away, and we were going to go to college, so I never got to go to college due to the fact that he was passed away. So I decided, guess I'll go in the Army.
Yeah. So your dad, you said 27 years?
Yes.
Was he a Korea veteran, or?
World War II, Korea and Vietnam.
He did both, huh?
2 tours of Korea, 2 tours of Vietnam.
Oh, wow. That's great. So anyway, you enlisted in the Army.
Yes.
What year was that?
1969.
Yeah. You want to take me a little round? Where did you go to basic?
I went to Fort Dix.
Fort
for
Dix?
Basic, yep. Yeah. And then I first went in I was going to work on helicopters. I went to school, then I ended up in airborne, then I ended up in rigger school, then I ended up in Germany, and then they sent me to Vietnam. So kind of got around quite a bit. My first year was all going through schools, and then I shipped out. I volunteered to go to Vietnam. I was just, Europe is nice, but that's not where I wanted to be. So I volunteered. I ended up in Vietnam with the 22nd Infantry.
So you volunteered for Vietnam?
Yes, I did.
Huh.
My dad was there at the time, too. So.
Your dad was what?
In Vietnam at the same time.
Really?
We were both there at the same time, yeah. I got a chance to see him when I first arrived in Vietnam. I had a layover for about 2 months helping out with the Air Force. It was like around Christmas. We were doing a lot of Christmas stuff, packages and doing things like that. So I got to hop down to see my dad. He was in the Delta. So I spent a couple days with my dad.
Oh, that had to be
It was pretty
great.
cool, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they shipped me north when I got back. Ended up in Tuiwa with the recon unit, 22nd. They made me an infantryman, which is what they do in the Marine Corps a lot, go back to your basics. So I guess I got stuck back in my basic, being in the infantry. So they didn't need a rigger, so they wouldn't send me to an airborne unit. I tried to get in there, but they wouldn't send me to the 100th.
Did you try to go to jump school and all that?
I did that in base. I took the test. I passed the physical test, and I got my orders out of helicopter school. They sent me to Fort Benning, Georgia. So had no clue where I was going. A friend of mine said, "You're going to jump school." I said, "Okay, cool."
But you didn't? Did you jump out of planes?
Yeah. Well, you have your 5 jumps. You have mandatory jumps in Fort Benning, and then.
See, I joined the Air Force, so you take me up, you get me down.
Yeah, yeah. You get a lot of that, why do you jump out of a pretty good airplane? Well,
That's
sometimes
right.
they fall out of the sky, so thank goodness I know how to jump.
Well,
anyways.
I never thought of that,
Yeah.
but that's a good point, Bill.
Yeah, so anyways, I ended up, I went to regular school in Virginia, and then after that, they sent me over to Germany for a while, and I spent about 5 months, and we did a lot of jumping in Germany. We did a lot of loads and stuff like that, night jumps, day jumps out of Germany, some in France. So we got to jump quite a bit. You had to jump once a month to get paid. That's the extra pay, $55 extra pay. Wow. But it was fun. We had a good time. We were just outside on Baumholder, which was the 8th Airborne Division out there in Germany. So we did a lot of work for them. But I just decided, it wasn't for me. I just wanted to, they were looking for volunteers. And one day they just said, who wants to volunteer to go to Nam? And 4 of us raised our hand. And we went. Like 3 days later, they shipped us out. That's how quick it was. We got 30-day leave. We ended up in Vietnam after 30 days.
How long were you in country?
Almost a year and a half. I extended to get out early because I was a 3-year enlistment. So I got dropped 2.5. So they gave me a 5-month drop. So that worked out pretty good.
Yeah. So you weren't like when you went to jump school and all that stuff. You weren't in the 101st, 82nd.
No.
Or what were you?
No.
What was your outfit?
We were just attached to the school, so I wasn't assigned to anyone. I was still going through school, so I had no permanent assignment until I got to Germany, which was the 557th Quartermaster Unit, because we were riggers. And then after that, when I went to Nam, that's when I switched over, and they sent me to Tuiwa, and it was a funny story. I go sit down and ask. The guy says, "What's your MOS?" At the headquarters, and I said, "I'm a rigger." He says, "What the hell is that?" I said, "I pack parachutes, airdrop, stuff like that." And I jump out of airplanes. He goes, "Well, we don't have any of those." He says, "You're going into the infantry unit, recon. We're putting you in the recon unit."
Somewhere along the line, did you say, "What the hell did I do this for?"
Yeah, and I said, "Oh, really? Okay." And my other buddy went to a line unit and infantry, and the other guy ended up lucky. He was a truck driver. He had a license, so he went to headquarters truck driver. But and after about a week of qualification, showing me how to shoot different weapons and stuff. I'd never seen a M79. I never shot a M60. I never shot I had an M16, but I only shot it in the basic. We carried M14s all the time. So, once you qualified, about 2 weeks later, I was out in the bush pulling ambushes. So, it was quick.
Yeah, well, God was good. You came home safe.
Yeah.
But I thank you for your service. And so you were in country for a year and a half, and you got out. And did you go into reserves or something, or what?
I got out, and then I didn't really want to go. I wanted to go to college, so I applied and went straight to college after I got out. I went to junior college for a couple of years. Wasn't the brightest kid in high school, played a lot of sports, but I was not real smart. So I had to get my grades up. So I went to junior college.
You looked like a football player.
Yeah, I did. I played a lot of football and baseball, basketball. But I went 2 years to junior college, transferred, went to 4 years, got my Bachelor of Science, and I was a phys ed teacher for 6 years after I got out of college. And then I said, I want to make a little more money. So a friend of mine hit me up to join the National Guard. He said he needed some former active duty soldiers to start up a roundout unit for the 10th Mountain Division in upstate New York. So he said, 1 year at a time. And I said, well, what the heck? Which is right up my alley. So I did it 1 year at a time. We got the unit started. It was a light infantry unit. So I did that for a while, about 4 or 5 years, and then called it quits. Had enough. Didn't want to hump anymore in the field, so I decided I'd better give it up.
So what rank were you when you got out of the service?
I got out as a E5 sergeant.
E5?
Sergeant. Yep. I went in, and actually I was lucky because, not so lucky, some of my friends rotated out, so the squad leaders rotated out, and then we didn't get too many new NCOs. They're just very short on NCOs, so they usually would promote within, and they asked me if I wanted to go up for sergeant. I'd already been there almost a year, and I was already a squad leader as an E4, because my E5 squad leader was gone, and there was only one other squad leader in the other platoon. So I said, why not? I said, I'll take the money. I'm already doing the
there
job.
anyway, you might
I
as
know,
well,
I'm
right?
doing the job. I'll take the money. What the heck?
Yeah.
So about 2 months before we stood down, they put me through the board, and I got my stripes. And for 2 months, I was in E5, and then we got an order to stand down. The unit got sent home. So I said, "Oh, I like this." I said, "I get to pay when I get home. So what the heck?"
Yeah.
It was good.
So you went in, what, did you say 69?
69.
69.
Yep.
Yeah, because that was a big one of the big years. 66, 67, 68, 69. Those are big years for combat and all that. But I got out in 71 because I was in the Air Force, and that's when it started to wind down, about 70, 71 and everything. But it ended in 75. But yeah, a lot of people got sent out early. I got a 1 day early out.
Yeah, it was 72 when we started going home, when they were shipping us home. A lot of other units were standing down. We used to be, originally our unit was part of the 4th Division, and then they broke off, went to the 1st Field Forces, and we were headquartered out in Nha Trang. And we just traveled a lot because we were a recon unit, so we went up and down the coast. So
you got to see the countryside.
Oh, yeah. Delta all the way up north, yeah. We traveled quite a bit. Yeah. They weren't real long missions like, the long-range patrol, the LRPs. We just usually went out for 2 or 3 weeks and come back, and then we'd have another mission. We did a lot of downed aircraft recovery missions, stuff like that. Helicopters would go down, and we'd go out, secure it, and wait for them to come in and get it. And we did a lot of those type of things, or they'd put us on a Highway 1, we'd have trucks or somebody would get blown up. We'd have to go in and secure the area. So those are little missions we did in between long range stuff that we go out for 2 or 3 weeks out in the jungle for a while.
Yeah.
Chasing Charlie.
Well, so you got out after 2.5 years. Obviously, you didn't think about making it a career.
No.
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 Had enough, huh?
No.
But so after you got out of the Army, what you said you was ed teacher? What did you do?
I taught. I finished college, went to college for a PE, and I ended up with a bachelor's, and I taught phys ed for 6 years in middle school phys ed, and then I just had a lot of personal stuff going on, so I kind of took a job working at Fort Drum and running one of their new rec centers and gyms. The 10th Mountain was coming into Fort Drum, so they started building it up, and there were a lot of openings for sports and recreation people. I ended up running the main gymnasium on Fort Drum under General Carpenter.
That had to be good. That'd be good duty, huh?
Yeah, he's a heck of a guy, yeah. And I ran the main complex for 13 years when they built almost a brand new post, because Fort Drum is a really old. It was a prison for POWs from Germany.
Yeah?
They shipped a lot of German prisoners at Fort Drum. So there were a lot of older barracks and things like that, and a lot of National Guard Reserve units trained there every year.
Yeah.
It still is. It's a big training center for the Marine Corps for the winter training.
Leesburg here of the airport there, and the college over here was a prisoner of war camp. Did you know that?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. The college, it was Germans in World War II.
Yep.
And they would pick the oranges. And after the war was over, a lot of them didn't want to leave because they were eating so good here, they didn't want to go back.
Yeah, I bet.
But and also the airport trained pilots. A lot of history there. But anyway, so after your stint with the gym, how did you wind up down here? You wanted to see me, right?
Yeah. After living in the North Country all your life, you get kind of tired of the snow and the shoveling and all that and the cold weather, So I just decided to move down. I came down, stayed with a friend, and then decided, no, I'm going to stay here, and got into law enforcement. That's what I wanted to get into. So I worked at Disney Security for a little while, and then I got a job. I got an offer to work for Orange County Corrections. So I went to corrections, went to training, and then worked there for about 6 years, and then I went and got my crossover for law enforcement. And then I got accepted at Maitland Police Department and worked there for a little while. And then, I got antsy again. And, Iraq happened. I was too old to go, And so there were a lot of contractors. So I went over as a contractor. I went to Iraq right at the end of the Iraqi war. Worked there for about 2.5 years. And
What'd you do over there?
MWR, Morale, Welfare, Recreation, in the gym. Supervisor in the gym. And then I went on different bases in Iraq, and then ended up, KBR, Kellogg Brown and Root, I worked for them. And then they lost the contract, and a new contract came in, so I switched over and went to Afghanistan and worked for Floor. And I ran 5 forward operating bases, MWR, as a manager for area. So
as a manager, what exactly did you do as a manager?
We did gyms, rec centers, phone service, computers, all those.
That'd be very interesting.
Oh yeah, we did the shows. When we bring over, Toby Keith would come over. We get all the
you got to meet
great
Toby?
entertainers.
Did you get to meet Toby?
Oh yeah, we got to meet all these guys. I mean, everybody. I met the Gatlin brothers. I met all these different artists that would come over and entertain for free. Part of the USO and stuff.
We got one now that has done a lot of traveling around. In fact, he's going to be over in up in the villages again. Rocky Lynn. I don't know if you ever heard of Rocky. Rocky's been here.
I've heard of Rocky. Yeah.
He's been sitting right here, and he played some songs for us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Rocky Lynn. He was Army, 101st Airborne, and his dad. Long story, but so it's not about Rocky. But anyway, Rocky does a lot with Gold Star families. He does motorcycle rides, because you're kind of interested in motorcycles, I know. And maybe we should go there and tell me what do you do? You are a member of the AMVETS. You're here. You are the trustee here. You're very involved here. But motorcycles. Talk a little bit about your motorcycles.
Well, we here at the Eagles, we started Eagle Riders 2 years ago, and I was the first president for the Eagle Riders when we got our charter. And we're 2 years old now. We're going on our 3rd year. And Eric McFarland now is the president, but still involved. And then we do a lot of rides. We do a lot of charity rides. Our annual one is for the Ronald McDonald House is our main, and we do rides for other charities. We did one for Ride for the Stone, and we did that one was a major one. And we've got a bunch of others coming up. And then I just joined the AMVET riders. They just started up about a month ago, and they're just getting started. And I belong to the American Legion Riders in Claremont, Post 55, so I got involved with that too, way back in '04. So kind of busy.
Yeah.
But I love, but you're in Florida, everybody rides a motorcycle, so.
Well, I used to do my back.
2 wheels, 3 wheels, whatever you got, slingshots, Pan-Ams.
But I got to show this newspaper clip.
Oh, good grief.
I understand you're pretty good at feeding goats.
Yeah.
So, there you are.
I was being attacked.
Feeding a goat, and that's me with you.
Yeah.
I was kind of like there for support. You were doing all the real work,
Yeah.
But this is up at Webster at the Veterans Ranch.
Right.
And I know you talked to some of the groups that you may want to put something up there. The Veterans Ranch is a not-for-profit. For those who don't know, it's on our YouTube show. Right. You and I went up there along with a couple other guys, and you're going to try to organize some kind of a ride, I hope.
Correct. Yeah.
Because what they try to do is a place for veterans to go and relax, recover, therapy kind of thing. But anyway, look it up, Veterans Ranch in Webster, Florida.
Right.
I have the address right here. Veterans Ranch and Rescue Center. But anyway, you go to veteran-rrc.org. And we had a good time that day. Mm-hmm. So you ride all over.
True.
How many rides you do?
Well, it depends. You know, when there's so many organizations that do benefit rides throughout Lake County, you know, and, you know, we just get involved, you know, we just decide to join and help out whatever we can do. Because they do a lot of raffles, they do a lot of 50-50s, they do a lot of things to raise money for certain charity organizations. That's
You know, one thing you do when you do YouTube is make sure you shut your phone off, which I didn't do.
It's not me.
So you do a lot of rides for charity and stuff. You got anything coming up? Memorial Day ride or Veterans Day ride?
No.
In fact, I'm hoping to convince you guys to get into the Veterans Day, and we'll have a parade hopefully in Leesburg again this year.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah, I rode last year.
Yeah. But so you're happily retired? Are you working?
I am.
Yeah.
Not my wife. No, she's still working. Somebody's got to bring in.
You're my kind of guy. It didn't work for me.
Well,
I retired and I had to keep working.
I'm lucky she's younger. She can keep working.
Oh, well. Do you have any kids?
I have a daughter, and they live down in Stewart. I have 2 grandkids, my son-in-law and my daughter. And I have 2 sisters, one in Texas, one still in New York. And my parents are no longer around. But, grandkids are great, a boy and a girl.
Yeah, you know why? Because you can tell them, take that kid home.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but I don't
Only
know.
Only kidding.
They're moving closer.
Yeah.
They're moving to Ocala. So I don't know how often I'll see them. A lot more, probably.
Oh, I'm sure.
But that's what we're here for, grandparents, right? Watch the kids.
Yeah.
They love it.
Spoil them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you ever go to any of your reunions, Army reunions, or no?
No, I joined the 101st Airborne alumni group because I was jump qualified. And a friend of mine asked me to join, so I did, and I did go to one of their reunions. We went to Brevard, down in Brevard County. They had the Vietnam Veterans reunion every year down there in Wickland Park. They stopped doing it, but they did it for quite a few years, and they invited me to go. So I hung out with those guys the first year that I went down there. It was a great reunion. I mean, it was fabulous. I don't know why they stopped doing it. But you got everybody, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, everybody came. And they had entertainment every day. It was wonderful. And I had a great time. And, these guys were great, but we're all jumpers, so we all had all kinds of tales that we did,
I jumped from a higher height,
Yeah. Well, I was lucky. I spent a lot of time in the States jumping, so I got to jump out of helicopters. Now I got to jump out of jets, C-141. I got to jump out of C-130s. I got side doors, back door. I mean, it was, helicopter, a Huey, and I jumped out of a Chinook. So that was kind of fun. It was, you don't get to do that very often.
No.
Yeah, I'm too old to jump now. I probably break myself in half.
Yeah, but it kind of take a toll on your body when you land.
It does, yeah.
We had quite a few people on our YouTube show who were paratroopers from World War II at modern day in Vietnam. Amazing bunch. Like I was telling you about Rocky Lynn, who's country and western singer. He was in the 101st. And he was a paratrooper. His father, I'll tell you the story. Rocky was left on the doorstep, an orphanage. And he never knew who his father was until many, many years later. And he has a thing out that was on Amazon, Where I Belong, where he finally met his father. And it turns out his father was in the 101st, as he is. His father rode motorcycles like Rocky rides motorcycles. His father played guitar in a band, and Rocky has a band that travels all over the country. They send him overseas. I'm a little jealous of you by running all those things and getting to meet Toby Keith and all these people, Yeah. Did you ever get to sit down and talk to any of them?
Nah.
No?
They're very busy. Really busy.
Yeah.
They kind of, it's hot over there. They get done on stage. They're ready to go right in somewhere, air conditioning, relax, have a few drinks, and get ready to perform again because, the troops would come in to see them. They wouldn't, couldn't go to certain areas in Afghanistan or Iraq. So,
well, I got to
had to go then.
I got to take in a Bob Hope show when I was over there. Yeah.
Yeah, I missed that. I didn't get to go.
Huh?
He was in Da Nang, and I never got to go. When Bob Hope came to Da Nang, I was hoping to go. Anne Margaret was there.
Yeah.
And I was like,
quite some people, I'll tell you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Raquel Wells, Anne Margaret. I said, oh, my goodness.
Johnny Bench
I
used to
missed
go
it.
over there.
Yeah, but we didn't get to go.
No.
Yeah, one of those hard things. But I did get an R&R, so, but, everybody got an R&R, which was good to get away.
Yeah. Okay, so you're going to be riding your motorcycle and working here as a trustee.
To the end of the year.
To the end of the year?
Which is next month for me.
Yeah,
I'm just filling in right now. I was a trustee the whole year last year, but our president asked me to fill in because they were kind of short.
You did a good job. We got a great bunch of trustees here, and I'm really Eagles is people helping people. That we have, this area here has a veterans committee, which I don't think very many areas have it, because Eagles is not a veterans organization, but we have a very good bunch of people here that decided they want to help out veterans, because veterans are people in the community, and we've done a lot over the years. I'm very proud, and I'm very proud of the fact that the Eagles allow me to come in here. I'm an Eagle member, of course, but to film these shows. And I get to talk to people like you, Bill. Get you on my show. So, all your experience in the Army, would you recommend the Army to anybody? Or?
I think, if you're looking for a career in the service, Army's not a bad way to go. I mean, if you're really athletic and you're interested in all the different branches, within the Army itself, there's so many different, jobs, and then, you can go from being a cook to Special Forces, Delta Forces. There's so much variety in the military, in the Army, and it's the largest branch. So you're going to have a lot more to choose from. And I've known guys that have been Navy guys that went into the Army. I knew guys in the Marine Corps, they couldn't go any higher in rank. They came into the Army. I have a good friend that came into the Army as a regular book sergeant and became a sergeant major. So, these guys have much more chance of promotion in the Army than they did back in the Marine Corps or sometimes in the Navy. Because we have so many branches in the Army itself, and then we have a bigger, force of members. So there's a lot more chance of getting promoted than there are other, like Marine Corps is very limited because they're, a few, the proud, whatever. So,
we just got interrupted by a phone call from a friend of mine he's one of those few, the proud and the brave, yeah.
But I have great friends in the Marine Corps. I just love, busting on them sometimes, but
oh yeah,
great guys.
Any branch of the service, Army, Navy, we tease each other, but we're all one big family,
Right.
But
I've been lucky. I've shook hands with generals. I shook hands with Chesney Morgan.
Wow.
Back from the Marine. Yeah, I went to a Marine Corps ball with my friend. He took me and took our wives, and I met him. What a great guy. I met, Petraeus. I shook his hand when I was in Iraq. Oh, yeah. Got a picture of him and myself. Pretty cool. Yeah, I got to meet some really great.
Did you send me that picture?
No, I did not. Okay. But I forgot about it. But I shook hands with Shushkavili when he was head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He came to my gym, and Bill Clinton came to my gym. Our guys, the 10th Mountain, was coming out of Somalia, had a lot of medals from Somalia, so Bill Clinton showed up, our president at the time, and Shushkavili was with him.
We've had a lot of Army people on here. We have one guy, he's just turned 102 a while ago. Mm-hmm. He was in the World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. And after he's telling me about World War II and very articulate about what went on. And in Korea, and he says, then I went into Vietnam. I says, didn't you have enough? He says, I had to get back in a fight. Tough people. But I appreciate your service, brother. And we're going to say goodbye unless you got something you want to add to the show.
No. I think I said enough.
Well, listen, welcome home.
Thank you.
We're going to look at that camera and sign off. Ready?
Okay.
To all our veterans out there, active military and their families, we salute you for all you do. Till next time. Today I'm at AMVETS Post 2006, a major sponsor of Central Florida Salute, and I want to introduce to you the commander here, Ronnie Mack. Ronnie, tell us a little bit about AMVETS 2006. Where are you located? And
we are at 500 North Canal Street, Leesburg, Florida. It's right off of 441, between 441 and Main Street on Canal. Can't miss us. And we're a veterans organization, along with, we have an auxiliary, and we have sons of veterans that are related some form or another to a veteran. And we do a lot for a lot of charitable donations and stuff to charities in the area and in the county. And we're a major sponsor to Central Florida Salute. We're proud of it. We're glad to be. You guys do a heck of a job, and we'll sponsor you as long as I'm here. We're going to sponsor you. So.
Well, I'll tell you what, we do. Sue and I really appreciate it. We're a two-person operation. Yep. And what we try to do with education and supporting our veterans community, and you supporting us is major thing. It's major.
We're glad to do it, Bob. We're glad to do it.
And you have sons here. You have auxiliary here. You've got a website, too, if somebody wants to join?
Yep. It's don't punch into www. It's amvets-2006.org. And it'll take you right to our website, Facebook page, and all that's there, and you'll be able to find that. The webmaster, he tries to get the calendar on there every month, anything pertinent. There's a lot of other links on there for veterans to find out where to get help for certain claims and stuff like that. Our webmaster's really into that stuff. That's the guy you ought to be interviewing right there. So,
well, you know what,
he's got
Ronnie?
A lot of stuff.
You have a lot of clout. You tell him to talk to me, and we'll get him on the show, okay?
I can do that.
All right. But I just want to, on behalf of Sue and myself, we want to thank AMVETS 2006 because you guys are the major players behind us, and we appreciate it.
Well, we just wish we could do more. We really do.
Thank you.
Thank you. You guys are awesome.